What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics. And today we got a reaction to the Killers, their debut album, Hot Fuzz, brought to us by our patrons. Every month, I give them two choices. The patrons choose an album, and that's our exclusive Patreon album of the month for months and months. So appreciate them voting on this one. It's a very close vote. I'm not going to tell you what came in second because at some point it may be up again. But if you'd like to support us in any way, be a part of those votes, any of that stuff. This channel doesn't happen without the patrons. They program about 90% of the channel. It's fantastic. Check out that Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. Also, if you'd like to support us, one-time donation, one-time reaction, any of that stuff, check out our Buy Me a Coffee page. Okay, this album has an absolute banger on it, an absolutely iconic song, and another song that's not up there, but it's still a billion streamer, so it's close. And I absolutely love the Killers. Saw them in concert almost 3 years ago at this point. I think Brandon Flowers I used to say he could sing anything. Then they just released a few months ago at the time of me recording this, a Madison Square Garden, him and Bruce Springsteen singing 3 songs, and a couple of the songs are just not suited to Brandon's vocal range, but pretty much everything else is. I think they're mega talented. I think sometimes they get a bad rap among people, but let's jump into this album. Debut studio album released in June of 2004. His music is mostly influenced by new wave and post-punk, 7 in the US, 1 in UK, Australia, Scotland, and number 4 in Canada. And the Killers are gigantic in the UK, by the way. Sold 10 million copies worldwide. The album and its first 3 singles got 5 Grammy nominations. It was recorded throughout 2003 with Jeff Saltzman in Berkeley, California. Many of the tracks were recorded originally as demos, which the band decided to keep for their spontaneity, which is smart. 2012, Brandon Flowers told NME that he felt depressed after hearing the Strokes album, Is This It? That record just sounded so perfect, he said. We threw away everything we were working on. The only song that made the cut and remained was Mr. Brightside. So another interview I read, he just talked about they listened to that album and he's like, we're not nearly good enough, and they just threw it all out. So that's kind of crazy. But that album's fantastic, but that album is not better than this album. The album heavily features, now this is something Brandon did not like years later, but features a vocal effect called Echo Farm on Brandon's voice. In 2014, one of the guys involved with it said, there were 3 of us involved in the production company on that record. Brandon married Jeff Saltzman and myself. There's a guy named Needham. Jeff and I have been partners for a few years. He was an entertainment attorney, but he actually really wanted to be a producer as well. We set Jeff up with a studio, got him started in recording, and since he's a smart guy, he picked it up really quick. At that time, Echo Farm had just come out, and that was really the only vocal effect he had. If you open Echo Farm, the first setting that comes up is the default setting, which overdrives a vocal a bit and sets an 84 ms delay. That was basically what he put on everything, and it sort of became the default vocal tone on the whole record. Plus, it worked really great, so we kept it. It changes a little bit on certain things, but it's a fairly consistent effect throughout the whole record. You don't notice it, though, when Brandon sings it live. It's not like it totally changes Brandon's voice, but Brandon later on said, I wish they wouldn't have done that. Generally positive reviews, but not great. It's a 66 out of 100 on Metacritic. It's listed among the top 40 longest charting albums in the history of the UK albums charts with 254 weeks, which, of course, changes all the time. In 2022, the album was named as the 20th most successful debut album in the UK chart. Rolling Stone ranked it 43 on its list of 100 best albums of the decade. And it was on the 2004 short list for the Music Prize, 2005 Brit Awards Best International Album nominated, Best Rock Album Grammy Award nominated. NME, 500 Greatest Albums of All Time, came in at number 495. Q, 250 Best Albums of Q's Lifetime, which is 86 in 2010 at this time, in 2011. 17. Rolling Stone top 100 greatest debut albums of all time, 33. And in the readers poll for Rolling Stone, it came in as 9. All tracks are produced by Jeff Saltzman and the Killers, except Everything Will Be Alright, produced by Brandon. Music won't be in the video. It will get blocked, but let's jump into it. And the traditional first side of this album, I realize everybody's listening and streaming or in 2004 on CD, so there's not sides, but I still think of music that way, and it's still presented that way when you research it. But the first side of this album is unbelievable when you think this is what they come out of the gate with. We got, of course, Jenny Was a Friend of Mine. The song is told from the point of view of a boy who's been taken in for questioning about the murder of a girl named Jenny. After explaining the incident from his perspective, he says, there ain't no motive for this crime. Jenny was a friend of mine. The song provides no resolution to the crime. It never clarified if the boy was guilty. The song was inspired by the videotaped confession to police that Robert Chambers made the morning after the death of Jennifer Levin. It is part of the Killers' alleged murder trilogy, 3 songs detailing the murder of a girl named Jenny, the other 2 being Midnight Show and Leave the Bourbon on the Shelf. In an interview with The Guardian, Flowers revealed that it was Morrissey's song Sister, I'm a Poet that inspired him to write songs about murder. All right, I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, patrons. What a way to come out of the gate on your first song anyone, the wide public, has ever heard. The guitar work by Dave on here is fantastic. Ronnie's drumming, but the bass work by Mark on here is just tremendous. A lot of people I've read talk about how it sounds a lot like Duran Duran of the 80s, and it really does. Duran Duran got a bad rap because, well, they were presented as teen idols, but they're fantastic musicians. Great music that actually holds up from the 80s. It's glossy, but it still holds up. But definitely, I don't know if there's inspiration there from Mark. I've never seen an interview where he talked about that, but so well done. So well done. But it's going to get forgotten for people who listen to this album because the second song is nothing short of iconic. It's going to be closing in on 3 billion streams soon. We got Mr. Brightside, debut single, first released in September of 2003. It became more popular, of course, when it was re-released in 2004. It only peaked at number 10 in the US and UK. That kind of surprised me. It's their best-selling song in the US, sold over 3.5 million copies. In the UK, it's the 3rd biggest selling streaming song of all time. And it's the longest charting single on the UK official singles charts top 100, having spent over 408 weeks, nearly 8 years, on the chart as of 2024. So that's grown even more. So I want you to stop for a second. Think about that. Think about the fact it's the longest charting single in the history of the UK. It is the most streamed track in the UK, released prior to 2010, and it varies. Sometimes it takes over as the number 1 stream, and then it drops back down. It's also one of the top 15 most downloaded rock tracks ever in the UK. It's the most successful single to never top the British charts. It's one of only 2 songs, the other, of course, being Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, to have been certified 10 times platinum by the British phonographic industry for 6 million units. So to say this song was popular or being understood, you don't see accolades obviously like this very often. So just going to throw them out there to you. And I'm going to throw out some more. It was named the Song of the Decade by UK radio stations Absolute Radio and XFM. And in April 2010, Last FM revealed that it was the most listened to track since the launch of the online music service, with the track being played over 7 million times. For them, you got to remember scale. For now, that's nothing. But in October 2010, it was voted the 9th and the greatest guitar riffs of the 21st century so far by Total Guitar Magazine. Additionally, in 2010, Rolling Stone listed it as the 48th best song of the 21st century. And in 2021, it was ranked 378 in Rolling Stone's 500 best songs of all time. Lyrically, the story is true. Brandon talks about the jealousy and paranoia when he walked into a bar in Las Vegas and found his girlfriend cheating on him. He said, quote, "I was asleep and I knew something was wrong." He said, "I have these instincts. I went to the Crown and Anchor, a bar in Vegas, and my girlfriend was there with another guy." Wow. But you know what? It has paid off quite nice, both success-wise and financially for Brandon. Dave, the guitarist, of course, composing music before meeting Brandon. Brandon then wrote lyrics and composed the chorus after hearing Dave's ideas. Brandon credits the speed of the song's creation. It's only having 1 verse. He says, quote, "We went in and made demos pretty quickly after that, and it took a ton of time. That's also why there's not a second verse. I just didn't have any other lines and it ended up sticking." Of course, Ronnie on drums is credited with creating the fast-paced drum beat in the first 22 seconds. In January 2025, it reached 350 weeks in total on Ireland's singles chart. You might say, oh, so what? It never hit the top 40 in Ireland. It never has, but it's been on the chart for 350 weeks. In 2024, Mr. Brightside overtook Oasis's Wonderwall to become the UK's most successful song of all time that had not reached number 1. 22 times platinum in Australia, diamond in Canada, 10 times platinum in New Zealand, 10 times platinum in the UK, as I mentioned, and diamond in the US. It's just one of those iconic songs that almost everyone knows. And the second it comes on, it's one of the greatest sing-along songs of all time. Now, I'm going to spare you that, but I always mute my mic anyway. So even if I was, you'll see me mouth it, but I'm not singing out loud because I don't want to damage anyone's ears. It's anywhere in the near vicinity of where I'm filming. Let's get it. One of the most unbelievable things about this song is it was nominated for a Grammy and it lost to This Love by Maroon 5. Come on, man. In concert, of course, this is the last song that they play when they come out for their encore. And it's just basically a religious experience. I'm a Christian. I could say that and not mean any blasphemy by it for those of you that believe in something. It's tremendous, man. It's tremendous. If you want to know what the Killers are like in concert, go watch. It was back in 2009, so not a lot of their newer stuff, obviously, but live at Royal Albert Hall, fantastic concert film that you should watch on YouTube for free, by the way. But yeah, man, this is worth the price of admission to a concert alone. Even if you don't really care for the Killers, which I guess you're not watching this if you don't, but go to one of their concerts. If you don't have fun, you don't have a pulse, man. All right, let's go to the third track. Smile Like You Mean It. Third single in the US, fourth in the UK. Went to number 11 in the UK. They state the song was written in just 8 minutes. According to Brandon, the lyric, looking back at the sunsets on the east side, of course, refers to the east side of Las Vegas, Nevada, where they are from, so to speak, and where they get a lot of inspiration from. Let's do it. Smile Like You Mean It. The first 5 songs on this album are so banging, this one included, but it sits in the middle of two songs before it that are banging, especially Mr. Brightside, 2 songs after that are super fun. And so this song has never hit for me as much as it should, but when you listen to it like this, the new wave synthesizers on here, the sentiment, Brandon's much slower in pacing. It's a more sophisticated song than some of these other songs. I think it's super well done. Next up, we got Somebody Told Me, another billion streaming. You got to remember, too, streaming didn't exist when this album came out. Imagine how many more there'd be for this, Mr. Brightside, everything else, if it did exist. Second single, only 51 in the US, which shocks me because the song seemed like it was everywhere. 28 in the UK. Then number 3 in a re-release the next year in the UK, 8 in Canada. An interview with Rolling Stone, Brandon Flowers simply said, "This is a story of trying to meet someone in the club." NME called it the UK 100 Greatest Tracks of the Decade, number 41. Triple J in Australia, Hottest 100 of 2004, number 4. Nominated for a Grammy for Best Rock Song and for Best Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal. Such an incredibly fun song. What's it about? I mean, it's kind of about what it sounds like. Brandon said he was 21 years old and is going around to the indie rock clubs in Las Vegas, is writing about what he saw. But the bass work on here is fantastic. The instrumentation is just cooking, man. I mean, that's as much of the song as Brandon's vocal performance, which is fantastic. Now we got a song that's also great in concert because, it features around a 2-minute portion that you just sing as an audience. But we'll get to that in a little while. Written only by Brandon on this one. Third single in the UK, 4th in the US, 74 in the US, 18 in the UK. Features the gospel choir, The Sweet Inspirations. I didn't know any of this about the song until I researched it. It's about television host Matt Penfield and his work with the U.S. Army as part of a program that mentored wounded PTSD-stricken soldiers returning from Iraq. Before the Killers were famous, Penfield, who was a vice president of A&R at Columbia Records at the time, tried to sign the band. He's also working with the U.S. Army as part of a program that mentored wounded or PTSD-stricken musician soldiers returning from Iraq. After visiting veteran soldiers in Colorado City, he went to Las Vegas, where he quickly bonded with the Killers. He watched the band rehearse in Ronnie's garage and took them out to dinner. He asked if anybody wanted to give him a ride back to his hotel, and Brandon offered to drive him. The two wound up at a Las Vegas bar where Matt said, quote, "I started to tell him the story about mentoring soldiers, and I was ready to go through a divorce. I was going through a bit of a rough time." So he went home that night, and their old manager, Brandon Merritt, calls me on the phone and goes, "Hey, Matt, Brandon wrote a song about you. He went home last night and wrote this song. It was all these things that I've done." And the line, "I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier," is about the mentoring thing. So that's the line that everybody sings back. When Elton John heard this song, he even called out that line as being one of the greatest lines he had heard written. Brandon revealed the lines in the chorus, "Help me out, yeah, you got to help me out. Don't you put me on the back burner, you got to help me out." It was just trying to be Lou Reed funneled through the Las Vegas Strip. Makes sense when you hear it. Flowers cited Irish rock band U2 as a major influence during the song's production. In a 2015 interview, he elaborated about the song. He said, quote, "I think it's got such a strong sense of identity. I was heavily into U2 at the time, and the way that they incorporated gospel to their music. That was something that had a huge effect on me, and you really hear it in this song. Everything from the chord progression to the actual gospel choir we recorded with. There's something to guitar music and gospel. You can make something that feels unique and honorable," end quote. In a blog for NME in 2013, he specified U2's 2000 album, "All That You Can't Leave Behind," as a direct influence on the track, and he, quote, "wanted a song that stood up to these songs." He further mentioned the bass line was inspired by David Bowie's song "Slow Burn" from the 2002 album Heathen. Further influences on the track included glam rock from Transformer by the aforementioned Lou Reed and Ziggy Stardust, of course. One of the greatest albums of all time, by the way, a character by Bowie. In December 2005, nominated for Best Rock Performance by Duo or Group with Vocal at the 48th Grammy Awards. You can't make this up. This is just appropriate. It lost to U2. Sometimes you can't make it on your own. Enemy, 100 Greatest Tracks of the Decade in 2009, number 95. Let's get it. Just an absolute banger of a song. So well constructed. Just listen to the first minute plus of this song and the way we introduce things. You know, Brandon comes on with the vocal, with the intro, not even into a verse yet. And then we slowly bring in the different musicians and they all make a grand entrance into this song. There's just a raucous sing along. But when you look at the lyrics and you know what it's about now, it even takes on more meaning, right? It's not some sort of just throwaway sing along song. It definitely has meaning to it. So I've told you a lot about these first 5 songs. I'm going to tell you nothing about the rest of this album because there is nothing on the rest of this album. No research, no anything. There's nothing that I could find that was said about any of these songs. I'm sure it's out there. I couldn't find it. And not any of these songs have even reached 50 million listens, which we'd all take, but these other songs are just unreal. So I'm going to say this about the first 5 songs. I don't know how many debut albums have a better first 5 songs ever. I know it's a big statement. I'm not saying it's one of the best debut albums of all time. That remains to be seen. I've only ever listened to this album twice all the way through. I know it sounds crazy. I love the Killers. It's just their songs are so fantastic. They got so many great songs. So these next songs 6 through 11, I don't know at all, right? So I'll reserve judgment there. But I'm going to say that the first 5 songs, I don't know how many debuts have a better first 5 songs. There you have it. Next up, we have Andy, You're a Star. All right, Andy, You're a Star. So this song is about a guy that teased and basically tortured Brandon when Brandon was in high school because this guy was a great athlete. When you read the lyrics, you pick that up out of there. He's sarcastically telling him, Andy, you're a star. You're a star. Because a lot of these guys that were great athletes in high school, and I could say this because I was a great athlete in high school, that's the peak of their life. And they live in that forever. Like they think it means that they're something. I never thought that. Honestly, I was always my own worst critic, but and he's just like now that I won't say now that he's made it because Brandon hadn't made it yet. I mean, he's recording an album, but recording an album in itself doesn't mean you've made it, right? He didn't have any idea it was going to be this great thing, but he's just telling him like he's coming right back at him, and I love it because one thing I hate in this world is freaking bullies. Always hated him. Was bullied. Fought against bullies later on for people who were getting bullied. Hate it. So fantastic. Well done. The musicianship on here is quite good too. A little difference in here. It's smoothed out a little bit, not nearly as new wave in here. Really well done. Next up, we have On Top. All right, On Top, another well done song. It's my least favorite so far, but it's a high bar, right? Still well done. Musicianship, a little more new wave here and stuff, but good job. Next up, we got Change Your Mind. Change Your Mind. Brandon's writing to a girl who doesn't feel the same way about him, and he can't really understand why she doesn't, and it gets him down, but she's never totally rude to him and won't totally shun him. But well done in the instrumentation on this too. So we're 3 songs into the 6 songs that I didn't really know. And here's the thing that's difficult. I mean, I'll talk about this more at the end. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We still got 3 of these left. But when those first 5 songs are so iconic and you know them so well, which I do, and I don't know these songs at all, it makes these songs, I think, seem not as good as they are, if that makes sense, just because you're talking about iconic songs and then songs you don't know. So it's one of the strangest albums I've ever had to grade when I'm going to have to do this at the end. And that's a big statement because there's a lot of videos up on this channel, but we still got 3 songs left. We got Believe Me, Natalie. Believe Me, Natalie. He's singing to her to go for her dreams, I think, or go for this thing she wants to do. Her mom's telling her come back home and he's trying to encourage her to do this. I saw somebody said she went to New York, partied, got HIV and is about to, from a dirty needle and is about to die. I don't know how somebody speculates all that in the song. Am I missing something? I don't see all that in there, but it's about, keep pushing for your dreams and don't give up on them, even when other people are telling you to. Sometimes they're right, but anyway, push towards it. Once again, great instrumentation and arrangement. Top flight on this whole album. We got 2 songs left. The second part of the Murder trilogy, I told you about. The other songs are not on this album. Jenny Was a Friend of Mine. The opener was the first. This is Midnight Show. All right, Midnight Show. It's weird because this is the middle song in the story of the trilogy. So he's got her, he's driving her out, he's going to kill her. Jenny Was a Friend of Mine, the opening track of the debut album, is actually the third part. And Leave the Bourbon on the Shelf is the opening of this trilogy. It's not on this album. It comes along with on the Sawdust album in 2007. So just an interesting thing. It's fine. I was enthralled in the story because I realized it was, part of the murder trilogy. We're going to finish this off with Everything Will Be All Right. There is another track that's bonus in the US. It was on the UK album, Glamorous Indie Rock and Roll, but we're not going to do that because it wasn't on the original album. So Everything Will Be All Right closes this out. Everything Will Be All Right. The production on this album is absolutely outstanding. This song was overproduced. This is the only song here I didn't like. It bored me. It's 5 minutes, 44 seconds. It bored me. Like, Brandon's voice is so vocally treated. It's not necessarily a horrible song, but I wish it just wasn't on here. But it's okay. Let's not dwell on that because there's so much that's great on this album. Which brings me to my favorite tracks, which is probably quite anticlimactic. I'm going to go with Andy, You're a Star. Maybe because I liked the message of the song. But that's an honorable mention. Smile Like You Mean It's an honorable mention. The faves. Jenny, You're a Friend of Mine. Mr. Brightside, Somebody Told Me, and All the Things That I Have Done. So, those first 5 songs, 4 faves. Well, really the first 6 songs. Those are the first 6 songs. 2 honorable mentions, 4 faves. Fantastic. Now, what do we do with the score of this album? It's a great question. I said Is This It by The Strokes probably wasn't better than this. It is better than this, but not by a ton. But I just want to go back and clarify that as for my statement I said at the start. I did say halfway through these 6 songs on the backside that I didn't know that, it's hard to grade them because these other songs are so iconic, but there's some good songs in there in those last 6. There's a couple that, but you're going to get that on 12 or 11 songs on a debut album, but I'm going to go with an 8.5. I think that's a fair grade. It's not too sky high, but it's really, really high. I mean, that's really, really high, but I really hadn't heard half of this album. Should I put that for the title? First time hearing half of the album? I don't know, but let me know what you guys think down below. What are your favorite tracks? Is there something that I didn't name that I'm missing? Is there a song that you love? And thank you to the patrons for bringing this one. We're going to have another poll next month. So if you haven't already, check out that Patreon link below. You can join for as little as $1 a month. It super helps us out. Everybody, thanks for watching. Until next time, guys, I will see you.